Hey guys, Jarrell here, GreyWolf TV, and we are back with our brand new series of Travellers. We're only on to episode 2. So far, the pilot episode has just pretty much introduced us to exactly what the show's about, and from what I can gather, the team of Travellers that we're going to be getting used to. We have the young lad who was the boxer, who has been now taken over as a host. We have the young woman who had the abusive boyfriend who is a cop, which is ridiculous. We have the young girl who was special needs, who she's now got a problem because she has now taken over someone who clearly had mental health issues and now can suddenly talk, walk and act perfectly normally overnight, so that's an issue. We have the other young lad with the long hair. I don't know the names, so I'm just giving you what I know so far. Who has found he has taken over the body of someone who was into hardcore drugs. I'm thinking it's heroin at this point, not crack. So he's got that problem. And then right at the end of the episode, we seem to also now have an FBI agent who they've just inhabited as well. So I believe these 5 members may be our team. All we know is they take over their bodies at the moment of their recorded death, and the only information they have on them is from historical records and social media, which is why some details aren't quite right. Hence why there's a few issues already. So we're just going to carry straight on with it. This is Travellers, episode 2.
All good?
Yeah.
What?
When'd you have a chance to build comms?
After school.
Okay.
The material's safe from where it is.
Dr. Delaney, the entire power grid is down.
Antimatter explosion?
More
What?
than a few hours.
Your transport unit is untested. The road vibration alone could cause containment failure.
We're getting in position.
Major, the containment unit. It's failing.
What?
We're detecting micro-annihilations.
So she was right.
I wouldn't say that, sir. But we won't make it to our facility.
At this point, an antimatter detonation is inevitable. I want everyone to turn around and get as far away from here as you can. Sir, I can use your help up here.
This is Wilson. The road ahead was supposed to be clear.
I said you do.
Okay, he's out!
Nice.
Got it.
Transfer complete.
Charge is set.
We're good for roughly 40 hours.
Well, that went about as well as I could have hoped.
Yeah. There it is. We've just officially changed history.
We just saved 11,000 people.
Except for the guy who was driving that truck. Today, we'll hand off the antimatter to the arriving team leader, and our first mission will be complete.
Trevor's got school, and Kylie's got a baby, and you've got a wife you got to go home to and meet for the first time, so.
An agent called, said he stopped by earlier.
Oh, would it help you if I told you I work with them?
Yeah, it would. It would help a lot.
David, there's gonna come a time where I'll need your help.
My help.
I mean, honestly, there's not that many people I can trust.
Didn't want to wake you.
Tough night?
Long night. Thanks.
Oh no, is the milk off? Milk is fine.
This is cow's milk.
What animal were you expecting? You know, I don't know if we're gonna be seeing
What?
them this weekend, but I can still pick it up.
Yeah, sure. That's great, Catherine.
Catherine.
What?
You haven't called me by my full name since our first date.
Yeah, what's that about? Have a great day. Cat?
Take a nap.
Uh-huh.
Don't like the coffee. What are you not used to seeing? Trees?
You can't pretend that you didn't have a seizure 2 days ago. I mean, whatever else is going on, that was real. You need to see a doctor.
I am a doctor.
What?
That the electrical signals in my brain repeat themselves over and over in a 3-second pattern. She'll be confused because it's more common in children than adults, and then she'll order an MRI.
I mean, technically, I'm still your social worker. I can make you go to the hospital.
Okay, what's the date today? The 13th? There will be a small commuter plane crash in Oregon around noon with 4 casualties. If that doesn't happen, I will go to the hospital with you, okay? Fair?
This is ridiculous.
Oh, here comes another one. What was your fight? What was your problem? Stocks, shares?
Welcome to the 21st. I'm Traveler 3569.
I thought this was gonna be a simple handoff.
Director probably didn't know about the pills.
What pills?
Fatal dose of fentanyl. Probably a fail-safe in case you lack the courage to pull the trigger. Director missed it.
Cause of death on historical record is gunshot to the head.
And you've memorized all the potential candidates in the area?
I've memorized everything. Today's not a real good day. There's a construction worker that gets electrocuted early this morning. Prime host, actually. The accident is impossible for the incoming traveler to avoid, so.
Report of the construction worker's death this morning is already online.
In a couple hours, there's an elective surgery that goes bad.
The point is, it could take time. How much do we have?
30 hours, give or take.
We should drive the antimatter out of town like the military was trying to do.
No, the director must have some sort of plan for it.
Probably has a power source.
I'm gonna talk to the traveler that delivered it to us last night.
You sure that's a good idea?
How's the circle jerk going?
We never had the material, did we?
What are you talking about? You're the one who drove away with it last night.
Yeah, well, I thought so too.
Why aren't you off on an island somewhere exploding bombs?
Well, there was an explosion, just not the one we were expecting.
Is this FBI business?
In the sense that they wouldn't want an antimatter explosion in the middle of town.
Are you serious? Have you been sent a messenger? Are you authorized by the director to talk to me? Then step away. Look, you're new. I get it. I really do. And you got a bitch of a first assignment. But I've been here a year and shit happens.
Well, that depends.
God damn it.
Marcy, what's happening?
What happened?
His hands just started shaking. I think he shorted out the circuit.
He's in cardiac arrest.
Marcy.
Go grab my bag.
Oh shit, he can hear this.
Marcy.
I mean, the whole facility was designed to store antimatter for an unlimited amount of time.
And it's a half hour away in traffic.
I'm sure the team we were supposed to hand this off to must have had other plans.
Well, no plan survives contact with the past.
I'm a doctor. I know the symptoms.
Dealing with it?
Well, I want you to dose before we go. To keep your hands from shaking.
You know, I'm not crazy about the idea of getting in bed with a mass murderer.
Delaney? You're forgetting we changed history. It never happened.
She still created the most destructive weapon in history.
So, Major Dickless didn't have the balls to do this himself?
If you mean Major Gleason, who took your antimatter last night, no. In fact, we're the ones who took it from him. The material's in that black bag on my associate's shoulder.
In a bag that size?
We stopped the disaster last night, and to prevent another one, we need to get this material back where it belongs.
Who the fuck are you people?
My name's McLaren. I'm with the FBI. My team has been tasked at the highest level to prevent the military from building the most powerful weapon of mass destruction in history.
You're
The
not
teenager's
FBI.
FBI.
No.
Just me. They're specialists.
Is it supposed to be flashing like
We
that?
don't have much time. We need to transfer it now.
How could you possibly create a stable magnetic bottle inside something so small?
Somebody's here.
You do not want to be telling her that.
One vehicle and the driver's alone.
You need to get rid of him as quickly as possible.
That's all I ever did with him. I lied. It never existed. Materials seem to be accumulating, but with each new anti-particle we created, there were quantum micro-annihilations that went unrecorded.
We have to take him out.
I said,
I didn't want to lose our funding and thought we were making progress, but at best,
We don't have time for
we
this.
drove off with a milligram.
But I do believe you were close, and we want you to continue your work. But that means you won't be rid of me for a while.
Can I at least be rid of you now?
Of course.
Well, she already has it.
Containment unit powered up to 120 MeV?
We left it fully charged in case the transfer wasn't 100%. How long is this gonna take?
Done. It's back.
Jesus.
Huh. I thought that'd be a bigger deal.
So did I.
Nope.
10.3 grams of antimatter. Perfectly stable.
How close do we come?
I already told you there's no way of knowing.
Blondie over there can't be much over 20. And the technology Beefcake carried in on his shoulder doesn't exist.
The task force is top secret, and this won't be the last you hear from us. Just keep the materials safe for now.
For now? What does that mean?
As in out of the hands of the military and off the front page of the paper.
I was thinking about what you said, and tomorrow I'm gonna go to the hospital.
Do you want me to take you? Or do you want to rappel down a rope from a helicopter?
I don't like this guy.
No, I would like you to take me.
You get that? I'll go pour us a glass of wine.
Hello.
Traveler 3468. Mission outcome acceptable in light of extenuating factors. Further breach of protocols may result in punitive action.
That was awesome. I'm actually really liking this series because I don't think it's anything like anything I've watched before, because it's turned things on its head. It's done completely differently. It's fixing things that are wrong in the future by doing it in the past, which has been done lots of times, but not in this way. Right, okay, the episode. I can't believe she went and told... Hang on. David? I think. About the commuter plane. Just to get out of going to the hospital, but she had to get out of it because she was going to be busy. This poor guy is just a social worker that has now got, in effect, her living with him, which is completely abnormal and probably against every regulation that he has for his job, and will probably lose his job were they to find out. And he seems to be coping with it rather well by partly being in denial and cracking jokes. But he's going to figure something at some point, because she's just done a 180 on him, and now he's found out she's a doctor. He's heard her giving CPR, and every time, there was a blackout and he knows she was involved with that. Now he's found out that there's FBI involvement. He's going to start putting things together at some point, surely. That was interesting. That's basically their first mission was to prevent basically a nuclear disaster because of that woman selling technology of a antimatter of a nuclear nature to the military, and it was their containment of it being transported that was meant to fail, and that's what the reported history of an explosion was. So they prevented it, then it all went wrong and they had to take it back. And him trying to find another, they were wondering what to do, and him trying to find another traveller to try and find out, hey, what the hell do we do here? Because the person who they were supposed to hand it off to was that guy in the office who was supposed to arrive, who was about to kill himself, who went and not only made sure that he died by blowing his brains out, he took tablets first. So again, there's mistakes being made by this director from the future, who's obviously coming up with all these missions and reading the history and everything, and it was only ever written down that the person died from a gunshot wound and not from a tablet overdose as well. So they got that wrong. So that poor traveller, whoever it was who arrived, died instantly because of the tablet overdose. So they didn't make it. So because of that happened, they had to improvise, and that other traveller that he went to see was not prepared to help him in any way, because they're meant to all stay as their independent teams and not converse between one another. That makes things incredibly difficult, but I understand why that kind of protocol is in place. But that was a fabulous episode. The woman in charge at the nuclear facility was not stupid at all. She knew there was no way that portable containment unit that they had there, that technology doesn't exist. Now, I thought, please don't tell me they're going to have her just accept that massive machine to be able to contain that they've got one that's just this big. And just walking around with it in a duffel bag. It doesn't make sense. And when he said, oh, we're the FBI, I'm like, she's not going to fall for that either. I wonder if that's going to come back on them. But I did say, I wonder if it's changed the outcome, because she was speaking to him in the car saying, I remember reading about this woman in history as to how much of a warmonger and the fact that she created the worst nuclear disaster in history. Obviously, they prevented that. What else did this woman do? And have they changed that sufficiently with him now giving a pre-warning of what he spoke to her about? I don't know, maybe. No way of knowing. Also, I'm glad that it showed she picked up as a doctor that the other guy is having, the guy with the long hair is having issues, because it was him who shorted out the containment unit by his hand shaking, because he's still having problems with the drugs that he's on, and her saying, look, can't have you like this today, go and do a hit before we go, because otherwise you're going to be a shaky mess. Surely she should help him with that if she's a doctor, and hopefully she can help him get off it. She has also now agreed she's going to have to go to the hospital for another scan, because clearly she's not okay. Now then, as regards them taking over these people's lives, it showed at the beginning episode of the episode there, him going on to his wife for the first time and him making mistakes already. He called her name wrong. He didn't like the taste of the coffee because it had cow's milk in it. I like they're putting these little things in because they're showing us that they're obviously from some future that's far enough away that obviously none of these things are around anymore, and they're finding it unusual and out of place to experience them. And what he was looking at outside, I don't know. I don't know if he was looking at the sky or the birds or the trees or whatever. I don't know yet. And probably we're going to get loads of more and more and more information as episodes go by as to how different their future is to ours and what they are experiencing for the first time by being back in our 21st century. But I really enjoyed that because it's such a different take on how to go about trying to fix society's problems from the future by doing it in the past, but doing it in this context, in this way. And I'm expecting this show to be quite dark because, let's face it, the whole show is centered around people dying and agents and travellers coming back to be able to try and fix things to stay under the radar of not being caught. What I want to know is the guy with the long hair. He seems to have set up like a little base for them now. How is he so good at memorising stuff? He seems to be able to just reel stuff off. He seems to be technically very proficient, and seems to have one hell of a memory recall. I wonder who he is. You reckon maybe he's like a professor or something in the future? Because we have no idea who these people are. All we know is what they currently look like now. So we don't know who they are. He's a young lad with long hair. Who's to say it's not a 50-year-old professor and she's female? We don't know, do we? They haven't said yet who these people actually were, who their personas actually are, who their conscious actually is, and what their bodies originally were. I'm sure we'll get some information on that at some point. It'd be nice if they give us that at least. So that was episode 2. I should be intrigued as to what sort of mission we get for episode 3. I'm expecting it's kind of going to go like that to begin with, and just giving us sorts of missions in between, and then when they're not doing missions they need to just like carry on with their hosts' lives, and we're going to get some sort of character development with all of them when there isn't a mission going on, I'm presuming. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see. So I will be back with another episode in a few days' time, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think of this show in the comments, because it's a brand new show yet, so I would like as much feedback from you guys as possible. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and to turn your notifications on and to subscribe. That way you will know when another episode is released. So until the next one, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.